you so much, Itzik, for giving us all your valuable time.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to our discussion, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun. I hope I will be able to give our followers a bit of additional information on everything to do with the Argyle Diamonds and the Argyle Tender in particular.
So guys, I will begin by introducing Itzik. It's my honor to have Itzik Polnauer, who is COO of Leibish USA. And that is a family-owned company founded in the year 1979. And over 33 years, Leibish has established a global network of clients, and they are renowned specialists and online retailers of diamonds, natural fancy colors, and jewelry. And today, Itzik, he's taking us on a virtual tour to Australia and talking to us about Argyle Diamond Tender. So let's begin by knowing, how did you know that the world of natural fancy color was a true calling?
Okay, so I was born to a family of diamanteers. My father, Leibish Polnauer, is in business for more than 40 years now. And ever since I was a child, every time we had vacations from schools and every time we were on a time off, and we always used to go with my father to work. It was me, my brothers. We always used to be as little children going around in his office, sorting diamonds on the table, helping him in everything that we could. We literally grew up into this industry since we were babies. Diamonds have been part of our life since ever. It was part of our discussions at the house. It was part of our vacations. Everything was always about diamonds. So it was pretty much clear to all of us that if there's one way we want to go, it's going to be following our father, Leibish. And I was privileged enough that after I graduated from the IDF, from the Israel Army, he asked me to come and join him to the family business as well.
How lovely.
And I've been doing that for more than 15 years now. And I love every day of it.
How lovely. So I believe it's complete passion. It's a complete passion, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know that this is what I've known for my entire life, ever since I'm a baby. And through my entire grown-up life, I've been doing this every single day with my father, with my brothers, with a vast team of Leibish, which are amazing people.
Lovely. So here's our gratitude to your father, Mr. Leibish, for giving us this wonderful opportunity and for his good health.
God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Okay, moving on, let's know what are Argyle Pink Diamonds and what makes them so special and different from the other diamonds.
Well, the beauty in general about fancy colored diamonds is the color, as opposed to colorless stone, which is about the lack of color. Everything to do with fancy colored diamonds is as much color there is as possible. And the special uniqueness, the biggest part about the Argyle diamonds are the strength and the uniqueness of the color. They are mostly pink diamonds. The big majority of stones are pinks. There's a few champagnes as well. And there is also a very, very small fraction of violet and blue diamonds. But what is so unique about them is the absolute insanity strength, how strong the colors are. There is no other color in the world that has such a uniqueness of strength. And it's also the chemical structure of those diamonds is extremely unique. That there's no other place in the world that actually creates this type of stones. So they are absolutely stunning when you look at them, when you compare a pink diamond from the Argyle mine to other pink diamonds from other mines around the world. It is just uncomparable. One is like a Lamborghini and the other guy is just like a regular car. This takes your breath away. They're so beautiful.
Wow, that's lovely to know. So that's why I believe that Argyle has its caption line as beyond rare.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
First, so the beauty about this, they are indeed extremely, extremely rare. There's very few of them. There's even a very famous saying by one of Argyle's managers, and he said it a few years ago, that it says, for every four Olympic swimming pools, there is only a teaspoon of pink diamonds, and out of that teaspoon, only a fraction is actually of higher quality. So really a very small quantity of pinks is actually, of the rocks that they are producing is actually pink diamonds. And out of those, only a tiny part is of good quality. It's
Right.
like they do not exist. They barely do not
Lovely.
exist.
That explains why is it called beyond rare.
Exactly. It is rare as
Okay.
it gets. And that's part of the allure of these stones, by the way, because there's
Right.
so little of them. It's so rare and it's so unreachable. This is the way we as humankind, this is what we enjoy. And there's
Right.
something, where it is very common and everybody can have, then it's not so
Mm-hmm.
unique. But when you know
Mm-hmm.
that there is something that only very few can have, or that only you can own it among
Yes,
with very few others, it makes it so much more important and so much more enjoyable.
for
And the
sure.
fact that it's so beautiful in addition just makes it such an amazing
Amazing.
experience. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
truly
for sure,
amazing.
for sure. So I'm looking forward to like maybe visit you and see those pink diamonds in person because so far I've only seen it on a lovely Instagram and the pictures, but I would really love to come, hold them, feel them, and probably wear them.
I look forward to having you. It will be my great pleasure. I look forward. You will
Yes,
enjoy it very
hopefully.
much, and I will
I'm
enjoy
sure.
having you.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so
You
much.
will be
Yes.
my honored guest.
Thank you, Itzik. Okay, so moving on, let's know about what is Argyle Pink Tender.
Okay, so throughout the year, Argyle has the regular production. Okay, they produce
Mm-hmm,
diamonds from their mine, and
mm-hmm.
they provide the diamonds to a small group of vendors, which are known as the Argyle ateliers. Those
Okay,
people get 4 allocations a year. Every quarter, they get something called an allocation,
mm-hmm.
and that allocation is uh, it's a small quantity of stones that they can sell to their customers. Argyle, the mine itself, doesn't sell the goods to the end consumers. They only distribute it
Okay,
to their vendors, and those vendors produce it forward. So when Argyle produces the goods, they have the regular allocations, but
mm-hmm.
uh, throughout the production of the year, they take aside all the finest goods that they can actually source, and they put it aside. They put it in a special place in the safe that they're not going to touch it. And
Okay,
the rest of the goods they give in those regular allocation, those quarterly
okay,
allocation. And when
mm-hmm.
the end of the year arrives, they take all those goods that they have put aside. Usually it's about 150 stones, give or take, and they make
Okay.
another cut. Out of the best
Wow,
of those best stones, they cut it into the best of the best, and then they have 2
wow,
groups. So the best of the
wow.
best, all those, we would say what they cherry picked from the entire year's production, it is what
Lovely.
this is what they call the Argyle Pink Tender. This is the best production of the Argyle mine that year. Everything that was the best production that came out through the entire year is the Argyle
Right,
Tender. And the quantity of stones in that tender is
right.
approximately between 50 to 70 stones every year. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Can you believe it? 50 to 70 stones. Those are truly the creme de la creme of the entire production. And these goods are, beside the fact that they are just unbelievably beautiful, and like you said earlier, beyond rare, because they
Rare.
are truly unbelievably rare. There is no, think about this is the 70 rarest stones that this mine has produced that year. Um, they put it in this what they call the yearly tender, which by the way
Okay.
is not happening so often. It started only this year was the 36th tender. So only for 36 years, think about it, between 50 to 70 stones a year, there's not so much. There weren't so many tender stones in general. So all those stones throughout the years that actually participated in the Argyle tenders are considered, they have their own special allure, they have their own special
Wow.
uniqueness, special place in the Hall of Fame of diamonds, I would call it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And you mentioned that these stones are only given to the vendors. So how many vendors are there?
So usually there are the regular the Argyle ateliers, which is a small
Right.
quantity of a few tens of vendors. It's not a big quantity, but in the tender itself, there's a slightly larger group. It's not just they have another group of people that they allow them to participate. It's not even 100 people. It's less than 100 people. Not a big
Right.
quantity at all. And the
Right.
way the tender works is also it's an amazing
I'm sure.
process. So the way that Argyle actually holds this thing, every stone has its own unique. There's a special catalog every year. They produce a special catalog with a new theme. So for the last 37 years, every year had a theme of its own. It's a different story. It's a different design. It's a different beautiful appearance to it. And every stone comes in a special wooden box. This year already with technology, the box even has like a special DVD that you open the box and it has like a video rotating of the stone. And it has a special report that mentions this is a stone from this year's tender and this is the number of the lot. And the way it works that they have 3 in regular years. I'm not going to, now COVID year wasn't a standard year, obviously, unfortunately. Right. But in every regular year, they go on a show. They go on like a tour, like a rock star. It's like they take those stones like rock stars around the world. It's amazing. It's a beautiful experience. And they visit usually between 3 to 4 locations. They went usually to do it in Singapore, Hong Kong, the US. It changes pretty much, of course, in Australia, where they come from. Right. And then they invite those special people who are allowed to participate, those special vendors.
Allowed to participate. Not anybody can go. Just the people who are considered. Wow.
It's a per invitation only. You get a special invitation up front. You need to be approved. There's a very, very small group of people who can actually attend this very luxurious presentation. And then you go to the tour of the stones and you can examine the stones in person. You have a viewing. You get a viewing that you can actually view each one of the stones. It's an amazing experience. You go into a huge room, and it's either they rent like a big suite in a hotel, very, very high-end type of experience. And you have the ability to examine each one of the stones in person, to write your comments and to write your remarks.
Right.
And then at a later stage, after 2-3 weeks, it's usually done in around September of every year, you need to submit your offers. This is amazing. This is blind offers. It's not like an auction, that everybody is sitting in a room and they can lift up, I want to offer this price and I want to offer that price. No, this is not the case. You need to send your offers blind in an envelope. This is it's not in an envelope. Today it's already online, thank God, again, with technology. Right. And you can you can mention what is the offer that you want to do on each one of the stones. And then they take the offers of all the other participants and the highest bidder wins. Each stone goes to the highest bidder, which is amazing because it's quite risky.
Totally confidential, and it's totally confidential.
Completely confidential, and nobody knows what the other person is bidding. There's very high security on this, and everything is with account. Everything is very legit because it is a lot of money you're talking here. You understand? So everything needs to be at the highest level of security and confidence. The problem here, the thing which is you have to do the right offer. On one hand, you don't want to pay too much on the stone because if you will offer too high, it's not in your best interest. But you're also competing against many other people. So you need to know your game. You need to know the stones and you need to know the exact value and you need to know how much it's actually worth. So on one hand, you don't pay too much. And on the other hand, you still are able to win the stone. It's a very, very delicate dance, Very, very delicate dance.
And talking about winning these stones, I believe that you have won 16 of these stones in this year's tender.
Yes.
So can you talk to us about your 16 fabulous beyond rare pink diamonds?
Yes, this year was an amazing achievement. Mostly because, first of all, this was COVID year. So the entire logistic was a complete nightmare. It was very, very hard to actually go and view the stones. All the world was in lockdown. So thank God we were still able to actually send our main buyer, our GIA gemologist, to go and examine all the stones in person. He went to Belgium this year. It was really, it wasn't a simple situation. We had to arrange a lot of approvals, but he went and he viewed all the stones. And he said, by the way, that this year, the goods were absolutely even crazier than most years.
Beyond rare.
Beyond rare. You see that the end of production already, the Argyle, the mine had so many, literally candies waiting for the end. This year is the tender one before last. Okay? The mine has officially closed now in November.
Absolutely.
And they've placed aside all their best goods. And they had enough to do this year's tender and one more for next year's tender, and that's it. So
Right.
when we went to participate in this year's tender, we had a certain, we of course, we examined everything and we mentioned the ones that we which were more suitable for us and what we liked most. And we were fortunate enough, thank God, to have acquired most of the stones that we were actually interested in. We won 16 stones, 16, which is an amazing achievement. The entire tender had, thank you so much, thank you, God bless you. We were ecstatic about this. When we got the results, we were dancing in the office. I remember out of joy. It was absolutely amazing.
How lovely. Yeah, and I also want to know your father's reaction, you know, when you guys won 16 stone. What did your father say?
This is exactly, we were all dancing out of joy, and he called my brother to grab. He called my brother is one of the world's largest Argyle experts. My brother Shmulik Samuel is a GG expert in Argyle, never seen before something. So he called him and he congratulated him for his achievement, and he told him how proud he is in him and what a wonderful job he did.
Lovely.
Yes. So there were 16 stones that we have won, which is amazing, because there were only 62 stones in the tender. This year tender, there were 62 loose stones, plus another 12 parcels. This is the second year that Argyle also offered parcels with a few smaller stones in them, which were named Petite. Okay. The Petite.
Right.
So out of the 62 stones, we were fortunate enough to win 16, which is an amazing achievement. It's unparalleled. But the most interesting part in the 16 stones that we actually won is that out of those 16, we won 10 stones weighing over 1 carat.
Wow.
So
and it's so rare to win source and Argyle Pink Diamond of 1 carat. It's very, very, very rare.
Exactly, exactly. So in this tender they had this year, there were only 21 stones over 1 carat. 21. And we won. We were luckily fortunate enough to have acquired the 10 out of those 21. And to be honest, we won the best stones, like the best 10. Those 10 stones are the best 1 caraters. So we were dancing in the office. We were literally dancing out of joy. It was amazing.
Right. So tell me that, have these stones come to you, or like they are yet in transit?
No, so we received them. The way it works basically, when you play with the Argyle goods, you have to, this is like playing in the major league, you know, once you win, you need to send a check. There is no, no time. This is a hectic amount. If you win 16 stones in the tender, trust me, that's a very, very big check. So of course, straight away we had to make a wire, and within a few days, they already shipped us the stones, and we got them in our possession in the Israeli office in Leibish in Tel Aviv within about 2-3 weeks. Since then, we started photographing them and creating a lot of publicity material. They are absolutely amazing. Those stones are like candies to the eyes.
Of course, I'm sure. And tell me, have you started the entire jewelry procedure, or you will yet think over the entire protocol?
We are still thinking of it. We're not necessarily going to set all of those stones. The beauty about the Argyle stones is that most people actually acquire them as an investment purpose, and not everybody wants to set them. So the way it works, usually and sometimes, I'll take it back. Many people do want to set them, but they have their own design in mind. So what we usually do is a person comes and purchases the stone, and then we go and we design a jewelry together with him. That's part of the process, basically. In our opinion, often when you put a stone already in a design, you actually lock it in a certain appearance. And it doesn't necessarily suit everybody's taste. Out of those 16 stones, as I said, 10 stones were over 1 carat, which is amazing. The size is a big attribute in Argyle. And the biggest important part is one of those stones is one of the hero stones, which I'm gonna elaborate in a second.
Yes, please.
So the hero stones, the stone that I am referring to is lot number 3, the 1 carat 84 pear shape, with a grading of vivid purplish pink and a 4 pp Argyle grade, which was named the Sakura. So if you don't mind, I will explain what is the hero stones for our viewers here. As I mentioned, every year we have the tender, right? The tender is the best of the entire production, the entire yield of the Argyle goods that they put aside. But out of the best, there is still the best of the best of the best.
Wow. That's amazing.
So in every tender, basically, what they do is they take the best and most important, meaning the rarest. Usually, it's the bigger sizes or the strongest unusual colors, and they give them even an added value, and that is what they call the hero stones. Okay, a hero stone is they give it a name. Every stone gets a special name by Argyle, and that name is mentioned on the special box, and it is mentioned in the report. It is an exquisite thing. So this year, we mentioned there were 62 loose stones, right? Out of the 62 loose stones, there were 6 hero stones. 6 hero. 3 pinks, 3 pink stones, and 3 violet stones.
Beautiful.
Violets.
Beautiful. Okay. Such a rare color, violet. I mean, it's such a rare color, right?
There were only 3. This tender, there were only 3. Very, very few of them exist. They are so rare that, like I mentioned, they are hero stones. Okay, they were strong. They were big enough. They were important enough to be mentioned as a hero. Just for reference information, the sizes, the carat weights of those violet stones, one of them was a heart shape, 0.33 points.
Oh my
third
God.
Third of a carat, and it's big enough to be a hero stone. Can you imagine?
Oh my
God. They actually
so
do not. They barely exist. And in the pinks, there were 3 stones. There was the one that we won, 1 carat 84 pear shape, which was called the Sakura. There was a 2 carat, 24 vivid purplish pink, which was called the Eternity, and there was a 2 carat 45 intense pink, but it was quite included, that stone. Realistically, but the size was very important. The bigger the size, the more important it is.
Beautiful. That's so rare.
As a general note, I know it is funny because most people, when it comes to colorless stones, we know that stones come in big sizes. You can get a 5 carat, 10 carat, 50 carat. In pinks, it doesn't go like this.
Pinks doesn't go like that.
Earlier, I mentioned the allocation, right? The quarterly allocation that Argyle gives to the vendors. Most of the sizes, most of the diamonds in those allocations are stones between 0.15 to 0.30 or 0.40
That's
carats.
So small. That's so small.
Tiny.
Imagine exactly, but of such high value.
Such high value.
High investment.
Yes. So a stone over 1 carat is considered,
of course,
like a 50 carat in a colorless stone.
I recall that you mentioned that they have their own separate grading system. So can you please highlight about the Argyle grading system?
Amazing question. Very good.
Thank you.
I think this is something that everybody will enjoy I hope everybody will enjoy to learn. What we usually know, everybody is familiar with the GIA grading of the fancy colored diamond. So I'll start with the GIA and then I will explain the equivalent of the Argyle, with your permission.
Of course.
So GIA, the way it works, they have the main color of the stone. In this case, it will be pink or violet. Okay, then they have the intensity of the stone, how strong the color is. They start from faint, light, fancy intense, fancy vivid, and fancy deep. Different levels of intensity to show how strong the color is. The stronger the color is, the more expensive it is, basically. Okay, so we have the strength of the color, we have what color it is, and there is one more attribute which is the secondary color.
Secondary color, yes.
Yes. So a pink diamond can be pure pink. It can be purplish pink, meaning a pink diamond with a purplish hue to it, or it can be an orangey pink, like a pink diamond with a bit of orangey tone to it. It can be brownish orangey pink. Basically, the more expensive ones are the ones which are either pure pink or purplish pink. And the ones that have orangey or brownish orange, it goes down the road of the pricing. Okay. And then, like I mentioned, you have the intensity, meaning the stronger the intensity is, the more expensive it is. And obviously, the bigger the stone is, the more expensive it is. So Argyle, the way that the Argyle grading works, it's a similar principle, only using different terms.
Different terms.
They use letters to mention the color. They have the letter P for pink, PP for purplish pink, and PR for pink rose. Okay?
Pink rose. Okay.
Pink rose. Okay, and then they have, for the violets, they have a grading called BL. BL, B like Barbara, L like Leibish, BL, for blue basically. Okay, so then you have the numbers, the number grading, it goes from 9, which is the lightest, all the way to 1. Okay?
Which is the strongest?
9 is the lightest. And 1 will be the strongest. So if I combine it together, let's take P for example, you can have a 9P, that will usually be a fancy light pink, or you can have a 1P, which will be a vivid pink or a deep pink, something like that. And you have all the scale in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
My God. So much of study that goes, right?
Yes.
Actually, I'm just recalling that when you mentioned that your team of experts had gone to Belgium to study the entire lot, your team must have actually studied, scrutinized what grade of shade, whether it's P, PL, and the intensity. It has to be such a minute and tricky job for them.
Exactly, absolutely. So before, it starts even earlier. Before you go to actually view the stones, the mine sends you, the Argyle mine gives you the catalog. It gives you the catalog so you can examine all, and they give you videos and pictures of every one of the stones.
Fine.
So you can do like a preliminary examination of the stones in advance. You can see the sizes, you can see the color tones, you can see the inclusions. You will note, by the way, that unfortunately, most of the Argyle diamonds are extremely included. So because they are mined so deep down the earth, it's literally very, very, very deep. And the pressure that comes from the ground on those stones, unfortunately, leaves a mark on the stones in most cases. There's very, very little, most of the stones will be included, meaning they will usually be in SI clarity, or even in more cases, in I1 or I2s. They will have a lot of bubbles and a lot of friction, a lot of edges from the actual surface of the pressure of the ground. So when you come across an Argyle stone with a VS clarity, I know it sounds funny, VS, everything is, but a VS clarity in Argyle is considered like 25% higher in price.
It's like about the moon, because the moon is so beautiful and it is so powerful, but the moon has blemishes. So likewise, Argyle Pink Diamond, it's beautiful, it's beyond rare, but the blemishes makes it all the more beautiful, right?
I love this sample. Very good, very correct.
Thank you so much for giving us this wonderful insight about Argyle Pink Tender, about the hero stones, and about the grading system of Argyle Pink Diamonds.
I can show you here as well if you want, by the way. This shows the grading system, and you can see that it actually has the different tones, and it has the different intensity levels. You see the lighter all the way to the higher. This is how it goes. Very interesting. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, please continue.
Okay, so now I guess that's why we understand that why these diamonds fetch such a high price compared to the other stones which we see around.
Yes. Well, it's mostly because of the rarity. Exactly that. There aren't any. The rarer they are, the more expensive it is. When there's not much of something, it's always going to cost more. So I think this is what's so special about the Argyles. There's very little of them. And listen, between me and you, it's a pink color, okay? And most ladies around the world, there's a certain allureness to the pink. They love the pink color. And there's something about it. A lot of women, a lot of ladies have a vision in mind that they want a pink diamond for their engagement, for their anniversary, or for their birthday.
Special occasion, yes.
And when there is a lot of demand, and when there's little supply, that creates the rarity, and it increases the price as well.
So moving on, we would like to hear some points which a collector must keep in mind while investing in these rare diamonds.
Wonderful question, and wonderful question.
Thank you.
So like I mentioned before, there are different color gradings, right, of the Argyle colors, and there is the clarity part, and there is the size part. Okay, so these are three attributes: color, clarity, and size.
Okay.
The bigger the size, the rarer it is. The better the clarity, the rarer it is. And the stronger and nicer the color, the better it is. At the end of the day, like everything in life, when you acquire something, you want it to be, especially as a collector, okay? And if you buy something and you want to admire it, you want to enjoy it, you want to take it out of your security safe, or you want to look at your jewelry, you want to have something that when you look at it, you know, it puts a smile on your face. So the most important part is the color. First of all,
Color.
the color
Yes.
needs to be nice. Some are nicer than others. Always it is. You know, I can show you some stones with the same Argyle color grading, but still some will be nicer and the others won't be as nice.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the most important part is the color. The stronger the color, the richer the color, the livelier the color, the more important it is. Then if you can find the ones that are not badly included, it doesn't have to be good clarity, it just has to be a sophisticated clarity, meaning there are different type of inclusion, right? It can be a black inclusion in the center of the table of the diamond. When you stone, you see it straight away. Or it can be a nice feather on the side, on the girdle, that you don't see. Look for something which is more of an intelligent or not eye visible type of inclusion. And you want to see the ones that have very sexy looking color, you know, that brings a smile to your face.
Yes.
And the bigger, the better, you know,
Bigger,
it depends on the budget.
Depending on the budget, yes,
It
absolutely.
has to be a nice stone. This is my only tip. Look for things that appear nice, because then somebody else will want to buy it from you at some point.
So you've shared such valuable insights about Argyle Diamonds. Tell us that where can our audience gather more information about Argyle Mines, about the diamonds and the tender and the grading system?
So basically today, unfortunately, there's no books on the matter so much. The internet is a very wide world. You know, if you go online and you search, first of all, you can learn a lot of information on the Argyle website itself. The Diamond, they have an official website. You can get a lot of information. You can learn it on our website as well, on leibish.com. We are considered the world's largest supplier of these gems. We produced a lot of content throughout the year to educate our viewers, because we're very passionate about it. We have produced a lot of content. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Instagram. People like what you're doing right now. What you're doing now, you should know that the attribute of this type of live that you're doing has a very important value to maintain and educate people, because it's not going to end now after you're going to do this live. You're going to upload it to YouTube and other places. It's going to be existing on the internet for many, many more years. So just Google it. Ask Argyle Pink Diamonds. So much information will come to you.
And I would like to say that, you know, whenever I have done my research, whether it's blue diamond, whether it's red diamond, whether it's pink diamond, or whether it's green diamond, whenever I have typed in, the first company that pops up is Leibish Pink Diamonds or Leibish Argyle Diamonds, you know. So your company always comes up, and trust me, you know, like you mentioned, your company has been such a source of information and content. All my research basically is through your company and through your amazing content that your team, you know, has been curating. So a lot of gratitude to your entire team.
Thank you so much. You're extremely generous with us. I appreciate it so much.
I truly mean it. I truly mean it.
You're extremely generous. No, so I'll be honest, when I remember already 10 years ago, important things that the education part, to pass the information to people forward was one of the most important things. It was also very important to me personally. And I remember already 10 years ago, I had a colleague in my office. His name was Benji Margolis. He was working very close. He was our content writer. And I remember I had a lot of discussion with him on this matter, because every time you wanted to go and learn about fancy color diamonds, used to go online, information that came online was always about colorless stones. It was that because every content writer goes online and looks for an article and copies what he finds online. So the same article throughout the internet. So this is going to stop. And I remember it until today. On my honeymoon, 10 years ago, I was sitting on the beach in Mexico with a notebook, and I was writing all this education about the difference between fancy colored diamonds and colorless stones. And when I came back, I gave it to Benji, and he wrote an entire encyclopedia about fancy colored diamonds and the difference between fancy colored diamonds and colorless stones. And ever since then, throughout the years, we kept on adding more and more more content, social media as well, an account called the Fancy Color Guy, which is very important to me also to teach people about fancy color diamonds. It's my passion. I love it. I think it is so important to share the information.
Thinking just about it, I feel so honored, because person with whose ideas I have been researching through his website, I'm having a conversation with the same person. So it's such an honor for me, because all this while, all my research has been from the Leibish website. And here I am talking to the man who's the mastermind behind curating the entire content. Oh my God.
You're very generous,
so beautiful.
You're so generous. Thank you so much. I'm humbled. Thank you.
And And lastly, before we wrap up, I would like to ask you a piece of advice which I shared by your father and it's always been very close to your heart.
Okay, so my father always told me, always be different from the pack. When everybody takes right, you take left.
Lovely.
This is the reason, by the way, he went into fancy color diamonds more than 20, nearly 30 years ago. Everybody was doing colorless stones. Everybody was doing the same. And he told me a story. It blew my mind. And it's actually related to your heritage as well. He used to go to India a lot, to Mumbai, to buy a lot of goods. He was very strong into India at the time. He used to sit and source stones. He used to sort stones on the table. And every time people gave him those fancy color diamonds, they looked at it. They used to call it rejection. Exactly. It was rejection.
Right.
Rejection, for the people who don't know, it's like the leftovers, the thing that you put aside from the pile. He looked at those colors and he said, my friends, this is not rejection. And that was the point that he realized that he's going to go into fancy color diamonds. And he started developing it strongly. And thank God, my father became the connoisseur of color. You know, when you talk about fancy color today, the name that connects to it is Leibish. There is no other. And I was fortunate enough to grow and learn on his knees everything that he knew. He taught me everything. And I'm humble. I had the best mentor I could ask for.
How lovely.
Everybody takes right, you take left. Always go the other way.
There's a saying that someone's rejection is other person's selection. So that's exactly
You're a very
what
wise person, Renu. You're a very wise person, exactly. This is exactly what it is. And you mentioned earlier about the education part. So I'll tell you one last sentence on my father in this regard. The first reason he actually established the website initially, 20-something years ago, in 1997, 23 years ago, I want every person, today, by the way, if you go to stores across the world, it is still very, very hard to come across fancy color diamonds. They will have 2 rings of yellow diamond, one other guy will have maybe 1 pink diamond. It is not yet fully exposed in the world. And he said already 23 years ago, I want every person, it doesn't matter where he is in the world, I want him to have the ability to choose from as many stones as he wants and to buy a fancy color diamond in every place in the world. You cannot even imagine the locations we shipped to ever since that thing. A soldier established in Iraq. To every place in the world we shipped since that part. And that is his vision that came true. That every person in the world who wants to buy a fancy color diamond can do it from his home and have a wide selection.
Thank you so much, Anna. Deepest regards to your father, and we look forward to seeing more of Leibish stones. And definitely, I look forward to meeting you sometime very soon.
God bless you. I look forward to, and thank you so much for your invitation and for the time. God bless you. I look forward to our next live.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.